Welcome, and thank you for joining us, Cody,
and Shay,
as we take you on a journey through some of the Midwest's most interesting, strange, paranormal, and sometimes unsettling stories here at Cinister Explorations.
So how are you doing, Cody?
I'm good. How are you?
I've had a week, but I am okay.
Same.
Yeah.
So, cheers.
Cheers to the week.
Yep.
Being almost over. Cheers, honey.
Long distance.
Cheers, honey. Long distance.
Yeah, it's been a doozy.
So, who's our special guest?
This is our foster dog, Rory, and we are foster failing, so this will soon be our dog, Rory. She's a sweet girl. So she's joining the pack here at Nexie Nation.
Yay. And she finally let me pet her a while ago, so.
Awesome. Good job. Yeah, good job. What are we talking about today, Cody?
Well, today we're going to be taking a dive into one of Northern Kentucky's favorite watering holes, Molly Malone's.
All right. Oh, we didn't ask Jeremy how he is. How are you, honey?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for asking.
We do care.
Do you?
We do care.
I already knew. I mean, I do live with you.
It's been fine.
Good. So we're going to look at Molly Malone's, dig into the history and some of the interesting legends that surround it.
That's right. We're at Molly Malone's a lot, so this will be exciting.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I know the two of you like to go there and watch FC games when they're not at home.
Yep.
Have either of you experienced or seen anything?
I have.
I have seen them.
No. I wouldn't rate service.
I wouldn't figure the skeptic would see anything.
No.
No, and like all restaurants or any restrooms, it doesn't pick me up as my existence to flush a toilet or let me wash my hands. So it's pretty typical.
So for those that don't know what Molly Malone's is, or where it is, it's an Irish pub in Covington. It's located at Court and East 4th Street, known as the Hermes Building, built in 1888 by German immigrant Joseph Hermes.
So not Hermes bags then.
No,
Okay.
actual Hermes.
All right.
When he built it, it was originally a saloon named the Covington and Newport Exchange. So seems to be a pretty regular theme that alcohol has to run through there.
Okay. It's a good place.
Yeah. So he immigrated to the U.S. in June of 1853 and was super active in local and state politics. He owned and operated several different saloons in Covington, Newport, around northern Kentucky. And according to newspaper reports at the time, he was a very opinionated and vocal politician. That is how they phrased that.
Okay. Do you know what he was vocal about?
You name it.
Okay.
But his biggest thing was he didn't want to have Bibles in the state library. He wanted to ban prayer. So I thought from 1800s, that was pretty
Progressive?
neat. Yeah.
My kind of guy.
He was a candidate for state legislature. And during that time, he was president of the German-American Mutual Protection Association of Covington, Kentucky.
The hell is that?
So it is also known as the Saloon Keepers Society,
Okay.
but that just doesn't sound as fancy.
What do they do?
Well, we will
Get to that.
get to that.
Okay.
You're jumping ahead.
Progressing left or you.
I'll give you a little background.
All right.
So when Cincinnati was founded, a lot of the settlers were English, Scottish descent. I'd say the majority of them. And then the 1830s, German immigrants really started to skew the population percentages.
Ew.
Between the 1840s and 50s, the population had already made up about 30% of the total population in Cincinnati, which would explain why we have such a great Oktoberfest
Yes.
in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Going on this weekend.
Oh, straight.
Yep.
Yours was last weekend, right?
But we have the world's largest chicken dance.
Lord.
That is true.
You had a dream I led the chicken dance where the other night?
At Oktoberfest,
Oh,
I think.
no, I think it was somewhere else.
Renaissance Festival?
You had a dream that I led the chicken dance at the Renaissance.
Yes, I did. It was a funny dream.
Are we going to see this Saturday? We're going to Renaissance Festival Saturday.
No, you will not be seeing me lead a chicken dance, sir.
Darn.
I can do the slow motion, like, new girl one if you would.
Okay. Okay. I'll take that. So with the majority of people being English and Scottish immigrants, being Protestant, of course, the German immigrants were mostly Catholic. So it was setting the scene for a lot of religious tension between the three of the groups.
Things have changed so much.
Right. Speaking of changing so much, German immigrants, they were often treated poorly, were denied work, especially any work that was publicly funded. So yeah, I'd say things are a lot.
You happened to your people.
A lot the same.
Irish, right?
Yeah, they hated us.
Not the Scots. We were fine.
I was part of the English Protestant.
You're probably fine too, right?
Boo.
So that would make sense that that big, long, fancy name, 10-word name, was also known as Slonekeeper Society, being part of the Protection Association.
Okay.
So back to the Slonekeeper Society, you asked, what was that?
Yes.
What did they do? Their main purpose was to abolish the Sunday law. Do either of you know what the Sunday law was?
I'm going to assume it has something to do with, like, no alcohol on Sunday.
As I knew it, I thought that it was just alcohol. But looking more into it, it was also known as a blue law, or Sunday trade law, or Sunday closing law. It's restricting or banning certain activities, not just alcohol, on specified days, but usually Sundays. And in the Western world, it was mostly alcohol.
Okay.
Which back home, I'd say probably in just the last 20 years, it's been that recent. We just started being able to sell alcohol on Sundays.
Wow. So if you missed our first episode, Cody's from Danville, Kentucky.
The country.
The country.
And I love God and ghouls.
You love God. I do.
So now I mentioned intriguing stories, and so we'll take a look at some of the sordid history. Back in 1899, the building was used as a temporary city hall. And there was a story I found about a black gentleman by the name of Mr. Bishop shooting a former Reds player turned police officer in the area.
Okay.
I think he was on the Covington side. He may have been part of Cincinnati. But the story goes that after the trial, he was quickly taken to the riverbank and hanged.
Oof.
I thought, how tragic.
Yeah.
I mean, it just don't give him any time to think about it. Or
He was a Reds player?
the guy that he shot was.
Oh, the guy he shot was.
Yeah.
Okay.
But after digging more into the story, I found out that story was completely false about being tried and immediately taken down and hanged. He was arrested. He was put in prison. And then one day, he and another prisoner got the bright idea to escape. And that was when he then met his demise, trying to escape the prison.
Okay.
But Molly Malone's held that trial, so...
Oh, okay.
Like in the building?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a courthouse, he
Yep.
said, so. I'm good. Boop. Excuse me. I'm assuming he was found guilty and...
He was found guilty, for sure.
Okay. And then he was hung.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, he was shot when he tried to escape.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So just a few years after that, Mr. Hermes passed away, and the building was sold to another German immigrant by the name of Albin Wolf. And he opened a print shop in the basement and the first floor, while the rest of the building was split up into apartments. And if I'm not mistaken, because it sold not too long ago from out of the Wolf family, the Wolf family is still in Covington, and they own several restaurants in the area. So,
Oh, okay.
and if that is inaccurate, I apologize, but I'm 99% sure it's true.
Fact check us.
During this time, the building saw its first reported murder committed by Mr. Alvin Wolf's babysitter.
Oh,
Yeah.
against Alvin Wolf? No. Oh, okay.
So, it is said that the babysitter came home, because they also lived in one of the apartments that it was turned into, to find her husband in bed with another woman. So, yep. Hell hath no fury.
It does not.
She picked up a gun, shot her husband, and according to her words, she shot him 4 or 5 times. So she didn't deny it. Yep, I did it.
As you do.
I'm guilty. But given the circumstance, the babysitter was given a light sentence under the heat of passion law.
Okay.
So
That's still a thing.
Why do you ask?
I would be concerned.
Yeah.
I'm always concerned. She has plans. For anyone
have
listening,
plans?
she has plans.
Do you have?
No, I don't. But you have things figured
Don't
out.
give me a reason.
So, out of all of the different ghost stories that surround it, she is believed to be the one main ghost.
Oh, okay. Have you seen her? Like, full body or?
So, there was a bartender who was closing up for the night. When he turned around, he saw a woman dressed in old-fashioned attire sitting at the bar. He went to offer her a drink, and she vanished.
Cool.
So, maybe?
Oh.
Yeah, that would have been an awesome experience.
I think spirits have allergies to me or something.
I don't know. I want you to tell a story here in a bit. So,
Okay.
I think he might have witnessed the spirit of the babysitter. Who knows? But as I was saying, the Wolf family sold it pretty recent. They stayed and acquired the building for 70 years. And then in 1997, they sold it to a couple of guys named Jack Wells and Aiden Bowles, who renovated the building from the print shop that they had turned it into and the apartments they had turned it into a beautiful Irish pub, not quite known as Molly Malone's yet, but Jack Quinn's Irish Pub.
Jack Quinn. I think I do remember that.
What year was this?
1997.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to age myself, but I sure I remember Jack Quinn.
You were a freshman?
I was a toddler. Cody?
Yes. I mean, like a freshman.
Freshly
Yeah.
pointing mankind.
So you all have been in there. All of the original hardwood
Yeah.
was restored and all kept intact. And if you can see it, it is so beautiful. And most of the hardwood floor is all original.
Okay.
Which they say with the original hardwood floor that the blood from babysitter's husband is still in the floor.
They always say that about a hardwood floor.
There's always the blood.
Anytime there's darker finish on a hardwood floor, that's the blood stain of the murder, blah, blah, blah.
That's what we're going to tell people, but really it's just...
The dog ate the floor.
Dog ate the floor.
And it
Dog pooped on the
color.
floor. Dog peed on the floor.
You know, one of ours chewed up the windowsill when we first got her, so...
In there.
Yeah. Aside from keeping all of that, they also restored the third floor back to its original purpose, which was hosting private parties and elegant balls.
I don't think we've been to the third floor, right? Second floor.
We just been to the second floor, and I saw a show on the second floor once.
Really?
Yeah, Tim Berry played there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
When was that? Before we were dating?
I don't know, honestly. It was with Brandon, so
I think it had to be before we were dating.
it was a long time ago.
Tim Berry's cool. You'd like him. He's the one that train hopped, right?
Yeah, he is in a punk band called Avail for a long time.
I think one of you have told me about
Yeah,
before.
and now he just does like his own solo acoustic type stuff. But he's train hopped and like traveled all across America. He's from Richmond. Yeah, he's really good. You should check him out.
Will do. So during the building's life as Jack Quinn's, the owners, for some odd reason, screwed all of the windows closed. Just kind of sounds like a huge liability and fire hazard.
Yeah, fire
But
Sounds like trying to
violation.
keep someone out or
Keep
someone
in.
according to one of the former servers at Jack's, one of the windows was in a closet going out to the roof that they unscrewed shut. So, of course, closing time, he went to get cleaning supplies from said closet and had noticed the window had been cracked open and the screw sitting on the windowsill.
Wow.
So he closed and locked the window, thinking the owners must have taken it out for some reason. Went about his work when he says in an interview, "I saw something. I just kind of felt like something was moving." So he returned to the closet and guess what he found?
The window open again.
Window had been unlocked and cracked open again.
Dun, dun, dun.
So returned downstairs, obviously rattled, as most people probably would in that situation. Gathered himself, built up the courage to go back upstairs, only to find the window closed this time,
Oh.
locked, and the screw back into the window.
Hey, at least they returned things where they were.
they're polite. Yeah.
So, and there are just a few more stories on top of that one, and all of them are crazy.
If you hear dogs barking in the background, which I'm sure you all do, we apologize greatly. We have a dog who, if anyone is in the house, has a full-on panic. And even though we took him outside and hid you,
Yeah.
he smelled you.
I cannot sneak in.
You can't. I know. He's too good. So I'm very sorry. That is Kylo.
We're gonna have to figure out like a Santa Claus situation.
A Santa Claus
Yeah,
situation?
fireplace.
Oh.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Yeah, well, they're all right
That
there.
makes perfect sense.
That is a fully sealed fireplace.
There's obviously magic.
That can be changed.
We can just cut the bricks out and you can just put your face through.
Yeah. So, going to one of those stories, you and I are very familiar with spirit boxes.
Yes.
Some of you listening might be as well, but for those that don't know what that is, it's essentially a little radio type thing. It scans radio frequencies forward or backward at a very rapid speed. And it is said that spirits can manipulate the energy and communicate through the radio frequencies.
They can.
So I wanted you to tell a little story.
Okay.
Shay and I, back in May, went to Waverly Hills.
Yeah.
And did an investigation with a pretty large group. But toward the end of the investigation, Shay and I were in the morgue alone and held our own little Estes method session, which is one person takes a spirit box, puts blindfold on, earmuffs, and you can't hear anything.
No, they can't hear anything. That thing is so loud with the
that's the
Estes.
radio. Yep. And the other person will ask questions unknown to the other person, and hopefully you get a response,
Yeah.
which is exactly what happened at Waverly.
Yeah, it was.
And you were the one that heard on the other end.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you remember a lot more than I do.
I think the name was Troy. I think that came through, and it came through twice. And I don't know what you were asking, but I said work and busy.
Yeah.
I was saying busy.
So right before that, I had said, "Are you a patient or do you work here?"
Work.
Yep. And then I said, "What do you do?"
Busy.
Yep. And it was probably, this went on for a couple of minutes, I'd say, back and forth.
Yeah.
Best session we've ever had, I would say.
Was a good one. And that was a weird night too, because everybody there that night that was doing Estes, well, not everybody, Dana and Greg were in Estes, and it was a lot of workers.
Mhm.
Like, it wasn't patients, it was workers, which when you think about the time of day we were there, it was 10 o'clock at night.
You're right.
Patients would have been in bed, and they were all very busy. Like, every interaction was about being very busy, eating,
very tired, need help.
very upset that we weren't in uniforms and wearing our hat.
Sounds like they have a lot of staffing issues.
They had a lot of staffing issues at Waverly.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
I think the staff was probably catching TV, so
I just didn't think anybody wants to work then.
we had a decent, that wasn't with you. I had a decent Estes at Madison,
Mm.
and then thought it wanted to talk to you, and it did not. It wanted you to go away.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was an interesting.
That was very interesting. So it doesn't surprise me that stuff comes through radio frequencies, but I hadn't heard of anything coming through just like a speaker with nothing else. It was an amp. So a couple of the employees at Jack Quinn's were in a band, and they were allowed to have practice up on the third floor. So they were getting set up when one of the amps, which was on, said a certain radio frequencies can pick up voices of the dead. Man's voice just through the amp.
What?
The band all looked at each other in shock, and then just started rehearsing as if nothing had happened.
There's no way an amp could pick up a rate. Like, there's nothing coming through the amp.
It said like that word for word.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's so bizarre.
I want them to have it so bad.
So one of the employees that were there, in a 2008 interview, they were asked if it sounded like someone from today's time. And she said it sounded like an older man. And we were just kind of freaked out by it.
That is so cool.
Yeah. I would be freaked out, but like, oh my God, that is so awesome.
I'd be carrying an amp around everywhere. This one goes up to 11. By the way, they are doing Spinal Tap too. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Really?
Yes.
That's exciting.
I'm so excited.
And Beetlejuice too.
Yes.
Most recently, employees of Molly Malone, since it has become Molly Malone's, they still report disembodied voices, shadow figures, footsteps when nobody's around, laughter, glasses clinking. And then one of the bartenders, not too long ago, said that he had witnessed a server walking, and there was a guy following the server, and he just kept watching, and he was the only person that had ever seen it.
Wow.
No one else around saw this person.
The next time we go, I'm going to be asking these bartenders some crazy questions.
But they have some good stories.
Bet they do.
Yeah.
They're really nice too, so they'll tell me.
Yeah. And I mean, food's good. Food's great. Good environment.
They feed vegans.
So if you are ever in Covington feeling adventures, stop by Molly Malone's, enjoy some great pub food and brew, and you might just bump into a spectral patron or two.
Do they do like hunts or?
I've never heard of one, but I think we need to check into it.
I know Arnold's, is that the one I'm thinking of? I always get it confused with Arthur's.
Arnold's is the one on 8th Street. It's the oldest bar in Cincinnati.
They used to do it like once a year.
Yeah.
And they open it up.
They have like what do you call it? Like a courtyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Arnold's. Arthur's is in Hyde Park.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Arnold. I know they do one.
Yeah. If Molly Malone's doesn't, we should definitely check into it.
Yeah.
See if we can get in there. I think it'd be fun.
Where are you on setting up our other tavern experience, Cody?
Well, we just need to pick a date. Would you like to say where that tavern's going to be?
We are going to go investigate Bobby Mackey's.
Yes. I wanted to for so long and no one would go with me.
I had been told by somebody that I studied under that I should not go.
Yep.
And then when we had the opportunity to have dinner with the Newkirks, I just flat out asked, and they were very honest, and I trust them, so I'm in.
And I get to go
And you get to go.
because it's like 15 minutes away.
Yeah, Jeremy never gets to go anywhere on these investigations with us because he has to play doggy dad.
Yep. So you get to go, and there's some people who are going with us.
So stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have some footage and
Yeah.
some good stuff posted from it.
Eventually, we hope to get Cinister Explorations to the point where we are able to take other people with us. There's some insurance and liability things we got to work out on that first, but we hope to do that.
Yeah.
Did want to also take an opportunity. We thought at the end of episodes, we should go back to the previous episode and correct any errors or, I don't know, stupid things that I said.
Well, the great news is we made no mistakes. So
So if you listen to our first episode on Spring Grove Cemetery, I talked about them firing cannons in the city center to help eradicate cholera. And I thought this was one of the dumbest things I had ever heard. Why would shooting a cannon? Yeah, they were air cannons. They weren't firing cannons.
So no boom cannons.
Felt so dumb when I read that. So it made a little bit more sense. And then I went down that rabbit hole of cannons have been used for lots of things. They actually, in Italy, tried to fire them into the sky for a while to prevent hailstorms. They thought it would break up the clouds.
Right.
And the first year they had no hailstorms. So they were like, sweet, we got it. And then that was just a fluke. There weren't any hailstorms. It immediately failed after that. But yeah.
So bizarre.
So, yeah, when in doubt, do a little more research before you say they were shooting cannons off in the middle of the city.
And if you ever come down with cholera, maybe find an air cannon. It might help.
It will not. Penicillin and fluids. We have learned this. Pedialyte and penicillin are all you need to cure cholera.
So as we're wrapping up, do you want to give us a little hint as to what next episode might be?
Oh, a little taste. It's definitely going to be at least a 2-parter because I can't not over-research. We are going to do a cult murder from Ohio. So back across the river to this side. And it is a religious-based cult murder.
Oh, I can't wait for this one.
Yes, I'm very excited. The research for this has been lengthy, but very interesting. I almost said fun. It has not been fun. This is not a fun story. This is an interesting story. It's a sad story.
So that you all know, this is not scripted. We don't actually know what the other person's episode's really going to be about. We might know the topic, but that's pretty much it. So
Jeremy knows a little bit more
Yeah.
because I needed some help researching some stuff.
Yeah.
So he has given me some help on that. There are a lot of players in this one, so it was hard to keep them all straight.
right.
But I'm very excited for this one.
Awesome. Cannot wait. So that's it for today's episode of Cinister Explorations. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast. Join us next time for more stories of the tri-state area. And until then, own your weird.
Oh, and you're weird.
Bye.